up pops Geedy on your feed, and he's doing the whole hand thing. That's just his thing.
But like to go and key is KR, it's out of the line, like, and hopefully like the police find who done it.
I think we could narrow it down to one thing. Had to be someone with a key.
Nice.
Here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack. Welcome back, talking shit and drinking wine, like and subscribe. Here's the crack.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Crack podcast. Bit of a different setup today. Bit of a mismatch in SD cards, so we've had to improvise with what we have. So yes, not the usual setup, but we move, we keep going.
Feels like old times.
Where we're sitting around a nice round table in, forget the street name, but
this is it. It's kind of weird. Like, this is the first time I've seen your face when I'm doing a podcast now.
I know.
In months.
I'm normally sitting beside you.
Yeah.
Rubbing each other under the table.
Be together soon. Let's get straight into it. So you put up a wee thing there today.
I just put up a story and was like, any questions? And we got a record 2 questions.
Nice.
So,
well, he did only put it up like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, fair. Connor Mac5 asked, who is that singing in the podcast intro jingle?
Che.
That is 2 Degrees. They came on the podcast. And
been on the podcast twice now.
And they were like, sound lads, thanks very much, it's unreal. And our second question was from Brooklyn Magician. And he goes, most embarrassing experiences with famous people?
Are we famous?
No.
I met Jesse Eisenberg once and shit the brick and just ran away. Oh
wow.
It's
very sorry for that audio interference. Clearly the phone was having some type of impact. You've met Jesse Eisenberg. Is that the guy from The Social Network?
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't meet him.
Seen him?
Fucking seen him, and like it's down the passport office in Dublin, and I was coming out of it, and he's so small in real life, like he's 5'8", like.
You know, just
pretty small.
Him up and put him in your pocket.
He was carrying this. He wasn't carrying. He was pulling along this big, massive suitcase. And it was like the size of him. Like,
I'll take that for you, baby.
I was looking at him. I was like, "You're Jesse Eisenberg. You're Jesse Eisenberg." And they looked at my phone and it was dead. I was like, no point fucking stopping him because he can't get a pick because picker didn't happen. Like,
picker didn't happen.
And I just fucking shit myself and just walked on. Like.
We walked past Pierce Brosnan in Paris once. Like.
Did you get a pick of him?
No,
it didn't happen. Like.
Walked out. Literally, you just got there. Walked out of the hotel.
You're lying.
Walking down the streets, walked straight past them, and I looked at him and I was like, sort of thinking, and I was like, that's fucking Pierce Brosnan.
He was like, oh, that's Tommy. Here's a crack podcast.
Said the pronoun, and she was like, seriously, you know? And I was like, yeah. And then by the time we'd done, sort of spoke about it, we turned around and he's way on, but he's with a group of women, and I was like, there he is there. And she was like, alright. And then I was like, one of us took our phones out to like take a photo of him, and like he turned around and waved at us, and we were just should have just went up to him.
Probably gets that all the time. What about the sneaky photos are the worst?
Yeah, probably one of them.
Just fucking come over and take a photo like a man.
Like a man. What about you? Have you any awkward experiences? I don't want to hear this Mumford and Sons one.
No, I didn't have an awkward experience with Marcus Mumford. Like, it was everything I wanted it to be. No, like I've never had an awkward experience. Like I would say the first time I ever went to that Power Video conference in Belfast and met a pile of YouTubers, I met your boy Peter McKinnon. Yeah. And at the time I was really into photography, so it was like a big deal. Or no, probably.
Did you not say he was a bit of a dick?
He was a wee bit. No, he wasn't a dick. He was just a wee bit like kind of. You tell he just didn't want to be there. But I actually,
you would have said he's a dick. You're just afraid to hear this.
I actually ended up meeting a fella, Dan Mace, who's like a South African YouTuber, big mates with KSI Neistat. So I remember meeting him, but it was really weird because I was like on the way back from the toilet and he was just like standing in the hallway on his phone, and I like walked up and I was like, oh, can I get a photo? And he was like, I need to go back in. And I was like, but can I get a photo? And he was like, yeah. And then like just proceeded to take the most awkward selfie ever. And like I was pure like, because I don't like approaching people, my hand was pure shaking, so it's like a blurry picture of me being like
I'm so happy.
And him doing this here, and I was like, oh, God. Funny enough, we're just back from Galway there, the Galway races.
Oh, right enough, Matt. Fucking, what do you call that, jockey?
And you've met the jockey.
Oh, fuck yeah, right enough. That was pretty awkward and going through, and I didn't even realise that was happening.
I always forget his name now.
Davy Russell.
Matt Davy Russell, but like we were sitting in the pub in Galway, and there was this Irish lad sitting beside us, and she was being all nice and all, and then she turned around, she was like chatting to me, she's like, Davy Russell's up there, and I was like, alright, no, and she was like, come on with me, I'll get you a photo. As if she was like my ma, like, and she was like, come on, no, and I was like, oh, like, I'll go up later on, no, and she was pure pressure me, she's like, come on, and I was saying to you, and then you were straight up, like, you're so awkward then, because then he went up and got a photo of him, and he got a photo, and then I think he got a photo of you and Eve or something, and then he was getting a photo with just you and your own, and I sort of timidly walked in, and I was like, can I get in the photo?
I didn't even bother. I was like, nah.
I'll put 50p on you tomorrow if you get a photo of me.
Because you were like, oh, who any tips on the morrow? And he was like, yeah, don't bet on me.
He was fucked.
Oh my god.
There was we went down the Friday and went to the races on the Saturday, and this was on the Friday night. And I mean, like,
we were there to 3, half 2, 3.
And there was a stage where it was like the DJ was playing like the last song, so he was like playing whatever song it was, and like we were up bopping about like full, and like you just looked over and like Davy Russell was just like slumped in his seat, like near passed out, and you were just like, Jesus.
Yeah, he was well on it. He was up dancing at one point too.
Was he?
He was giving her all that. Like.
Yeah. So he took some women home, like.
He's fucking done. Hey, he don't know I was riding the night before. Riding left. There's no riding
Get
left.
Get
it up.
Yeah, so we went down to Galway. That was an experience. My first time at the races. Lost my race.
What'd you think of it as a first timer?
It was a lot. I feel like the next time we go down, I'll enjoy it, because I actually, like, it took a while to like kind of figure out, like, right, what the heck's
what the fuck
going
are
on?
doing?
Ross going up to places for, what do I do? Where do I go?
I was like, Tommy, like, what do I do here? But I was
just going
like,
up to the biggies, handing them the money and running like
you
that.
see what I see towards the end, like, I was pretty in tune, like looking at like the likes of, you had me on, was it Boyle Sports? I was looking at like the odds and stuff, and I was like, that seems like a logical one to go for. And then at the end I was just like putting ones on anything, and I was like, oh well, what's the point?
But you can get too into it, like you can just start reading up on them too much, and then like,
what about the taxi driver? Hey?
It's ridiculous.
Losing $2,500.
Jesus Christ. Right. And like, what was only the 4th day of Galway?
Yeah. So basically, long story short, we went down to Galway, placed a few bets. The boys didn't win anything. We lost everything.
It was a wet old day.
It was a wet day.
Oh, so funny.
So
I need to post off video.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Shay the night before was complaining about feeling a wee bit sort of pasty, and obviously Thomas is just back from a week away in a sunny climate. I've probably had 30 seconds of sun exposure, so I've somewhat of a bit of a tan. You're quite pasty white.
My idea of getting a day out in the sun is getting into the car and driving somewhere.
Yeah. So basically we were out on the Friday night, and there was a few sort of conversations had about Shay feeling a wee bit pasty white, and we woke up the next morning getting all ready for the races and all suited and booted. Walked into the kitchen, here's Shay looking particularly tanned. He'd sneaked a few tan drops in the moisturizer.
It seemed like
a good idea.
It would have been. We'd sort of discussed this the night before, and it would have been a good idea, because obviously like tan takes time to develop.
Yeah.
So if I had done it the night before, but we came home and we were fucked, like, so there was no me putting on tan at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
No.
But tried it again the next morning, and Aoife put it on, but the way she put it on, she was like dabbing moisturizer in my face and then putting the drops on over it.
Yeah.
So like my pores were like completely blocked up, so like I couldn't like my pores couldn't breathe. Saying obviously it was fucking very hot outside.
Yeah.
And then we got in that taxi. And shit just went.
The three of us bailed in the back of a taxi and went from our hotel to the races, and it was probably a good 20-minute taxi. The three of us in the back, all in three-piece suits. Like, so I was pretty warm at one point. I went silent because I was like, if I speak or have the crack, I might throw up. And then the next minute, I'd seen Thomas look over my shoulder, and I was obviously in the middle. And then the next minute, I could feel Thomas gyrating beside me. I was like, what the frick's wrong with him? And then I looked over and you were in tears. And I said, what's wrong with him? And then I looked to my right and Shay, just tan dripping down the side of his face. I was like, oh no.
It was so hot.
It looked like someone had dabbed you with a tea bag, and it was just dripping.
There was no aircon in that taxi or nothing. Yeah. Like, it was so warm. We were all like rammed together. And then I was trying to ask him to put the window down, and he just wouldn't reply. He just
our taxi driver
was like, so awkward. We got into the taxi and Shay's like, oh, have you been down to the races much this week? Just dead silence. So.
I was like, okay, not much of a talker.
So
You asked him something too, and he just was like, he started answering
I was not having
different
it. Like,
questions.
I asked him something, then I just shouted at him. Then
I'm pretty sure he
Thomas
started
goes,
answering back. So.
busy the day. Busy the day. Your boy was like,
He went on. You said you busy today. He's like, oh, I was down at Galway there a couple of days ago, and I lost a few pounds on it, but it's a good old day out. And that wasn't even the fucking question I asked you. Like.
it's just delayed reaction. He was processing the first question.
Then I eventually got that window down. He had the windows locked and all.
You had the full head out the window, like.
Oh man, anyone see me coming like. People, I could you know, whenever you walk into a place and you feel like people are looking at you.
Yeah,
so bad in Galway. You could feel
bad.
it. And then Aoife was like to me, why did you not go into the bathroom and wash it off? Imagine me in that bathroom with like 40 men, a line of sinks, and me fucking washing fake tan off my face.
You with your makeup bag.
Like all this toilet roll and it all brown.
How do I look? Do I look good?
but yeah, all in all, good time at Galway. Expensive enough, but here. You can always get more money. You can't get more memories.
Wow.
I think that's the word. Anyway, moving on. This week in the news, pretty recent, we were all getting excited for the whole... I mean, we're 3 people in our mid-20s and we don't have any... We don't... Bash that off the table any order, would you? We're 3 boys. Fuck! we're 3 guys in our mid-20s and we have no shame saying that we do follow the whole YouTube boxing scene.
All right.
And basically, it's all went down this week. Basically, what is your opinion on Jake Paul? Because you did like him at stage.
He's a sick cunt. Have you seen him? He's an animal.
Do you actually?
Did you see the fighting videos and all? He's a fucking animal.
No. Are you on about Jake Paul or Logan Paul?
Jake Paul.
The wee brother.
There's videos of him sparring and all, and he's so quick, like. He's a sick cunt. You want to see him go, like.
With the whole KSI thing, I think KSI knows if he takes the fight, he'll lose, and that's why he won't take it, which is probably smart.
I think KSI will get beat, yeah.
I think if he took it now, he would get beat, but then I was interested to see how he was going to do against your boy Wasabi. I knew he'd beat him, but now I'm sort of like, nobody really knows much about the Wasabi.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Like, we were watching the press conference when we were down in Galway, the whole KSI and Alex Wasabi thing, and at the start I was a bit like, why is he fighting this guy? But then I suppose I'm not from America, so like Alex Wasabi's not really like a big deal to me.
Who is he?
He's like an American YouTuber, but he fought KSI's wee brother in the last fight
and he beat him.
And he smacked him uselessly. So then it was the whole thing like, oh, I'm coming back for redemption and all this here, just this kind of wishy-washy narrative.
Deadgy's a bit then.
I don't see why he doesn't fight your boy Austin McBroom though.
Yeah, I think he did do.
Is there?
I think there could be maybe 6 inches though.
I don't think so. No. I don't think
there is.
I think it's a weight. I think it's a weight and a money thing.
5'8" or something. 5'10".
KSI done a Reddit.
Surely, like Alex Wasabi wasn't going to be getting much money.
KSI done a Reddit video the other day and was just like reading out all the names that he could have chose, and he, like a lot of like Austin McBroom and stuff. He was just like, it just wouldn't have happened. Like you're asking me 3 weeks out to bring a guy over from the US, negotiate contracts, bring him over, get him adjusted to UK. Like Alex Wasabi already knew what was happening, so he trained for it. Whereas so basically at the time they were doing out the contract, basically what KSI said on the whole Reddit video the other day was that they had basically a backup fighter, which was this guy Swarms.
Yeah.
So your guys already knew, like, if your band pulls out, I'm ready to pop in. Where the whole thing happened was no one knows who this Swarms person is.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper.
Which KSI's performed with him and all.
But I think it's the fact as well, it goes from like, and I remember sending it into our group chat, I was like, what the heck is this? Where they sent the new poster out and he's just standing there and it literally looks like the most B-Tech Photoshop job.
Yeah.
Him standing in the shirt and all. Like, I thought it was a joke.
It's last minute .com.
Yeah.
But what do you do? But sure, like, you look at the Jake Paul thing and I seen Dana White talking about it, like, your boy pulled out of his fight. And Dana White was on a podcast and he's like, I think what's happened is he realised he wasn't going to make 100 million off the pay-per-views and pulled out.
Well, 80 quid or something for
something crazy, and like he was $80. He was like, renting out Madison Square Gardens and all for it, because like he basically like organises, I think he owns like the promotions company, Jake Paul, that organises the fights. So I think they basically made a boo-boo and realised they weren't going to make that much money. But like Eddie Hearn and all said before, like Jake Paul saying, oh, we made X amount on this fight, and Eddie Hearn's like, there's no fucking way. Like. Did you see there's talk of Conor McGregor Mayweather too?
Jeez, that'll be a good one.
What is Mayweather now?
Don't know.
43, 44?
I think he's over that.
Oh my God, he was 41 when he fought him the first time.
Probs needs to do.
What was that, 2-3 years ago? Why is he broke now?
Well, apparently, but sure, the whole thing with Logan Paul, he never paid him.
Oh,
Pay him half the money he was meant to pay him.
But then again, like, how true do you think that was too?
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather's 45.
Holy shit.
Still boxing away.
Aye, but he's quick.
And he retired after that though.
What the flip?
McGregor hasn't done fuck all recently.
What the heck's McGregor doing? Like McGregor's just... See the thing he put up the other
He's
day?
doing
His
what
wife
about-
must have got a tattoo or something, and he just put this random video up on Instagram of him pure, like, rubbing it. I was like, where's this going?
I've never seen that.
People were like commenting on. I was like, I usually skip this bit.
You see the video of him in Ibiza a couple of weeks ago? In, what do you call this club?
Ocean Beach.
Lineker's club, like, walking in with about 20 security guards. Like.
Oh, someone.
He's doing what he should be doing.
Yeah.
He should just be living his life and enjoying it. No?
I keep tagging you in them videos, but someone's made an account on TikTok where they basically just like make his voice higher pitched. They speed up his voice.
I've seen those.
And like stretch the thing.
Yeah.
And I flipping pissed myself the other day. That one, you know, the one where he just like, it was an Instagram story, I think, and it was just this blank mirror, and the next minute he just steps in and he goes, yeah. There, and someone put the thing up on it, and I was like, yeah. And then the one where who did he fight the last time? I know he fought
Poirier.
Yeah, and he obviously he broke his leg or something. But the bit where Joe Rogan got down and like started to talk to him, and he was just like, there was no check. Your wife is in me DMs. I was pissing myself. That was so funny. You'll do nothing. They've like high pitched his voice. It's like they keep coming up for me on TikTok, and I'm like, this is flipping class. We're recording this podcast on a Tuesday evening, and we normally record in advance. So we don't really sometimes we like to keep the topics generic, but this week we're coming to you with fresh news.
Fresh content, fresh news. So
I think we're going to talk a wee bit about, there's been a bit of a stir in the Northern Ireland scene, and I personally would have probably wanted to avoid talking about this, because I just think the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
What do you reckon? It's not that deep.
I know it's not deep, but at the same time, I just prefer. I just think it's.
But I think it's better that we do. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed.
We need to talk about the celebrity scene in Northern Ireland.
If you're from over here, you'll be familiar with
Mr. Yes TikTok.
Why are you being so weird about this? Right, so
spit it out.
Katie's car got keyed.
Yes,
and we're going to talk about it because it's out of line.
Yeah. But for anybody listening because there will be people listening that don't know.
Hardly.
So basically, we've had him on the podcast for Matthew McGeady, but he
is a sound lad.
Yeah, he's a sound lad.
He was good when he came on, and he's sound. Anytime we've met him, he's been dead on. And I know people that don't like his content, and there's obviously a lot of people that do like his content, and we've seen a few TikToks, he does get a lot of abuse in the comments, but at the same time, he's obviously doing well for himself. But to go and key his car is a bit it's ridiculous that this has happened. But at the same time, the only thing what I say, I think it's trumpy, and obviously when you're doing what we're doing and doing the likes what he's doing and putting content online, you're going to get abuse. It just comes with it. But I feel when you share so much online, you're sort of putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
Not that he shouldn't do that, but it's when we had him on, he was sort of saying he'd only really started charging for doing TikToks, obviously going to restaurants and all, and now he's turned it into a business. He's what is it, content creation type of thing, where he goes out and creates content for people's TikToks. And he's obviously doing well for himself. He's saved up and he's bought himself a nice car. And some Trump has come on and keyed it. Like,
So
what is your thoughts on it? Like, because we can go on and on about whatever. Like, but
where was the car just parked in the side of the street or something?
So this is all the things we don't know, and I don't want to get into it because, to be quite frankly honest with you, like it's not like I watched it and it was the end of my world. Yeah. I'm just being honest.
I think first whenever I heard it, it was sort of like, oh fuck, how do they know someone's keyed the car or whatever, or maybe someone's just dinged it in the way it passed, like just because, but it's just lines up too well. Didn't he put like a picture of his personal weight up a couple of days before?
This is the thing.
And then the video was clearly like 2 fucking key marks down this 2 or 3 key marks.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 key marks, but it was like me and him were talking about this earlier on. He said, Thomas, rightfully so, said, is he sure that no one just ran up the side of it? And I said, well, it goes across 2 panels and it's like one scratch. So it's keyed. Yeah. Like there's no way around it. I mean, he could have parked it somewhere and someone has just keyed it. But I do agree. I think it lines up too well with the whole personalized plate thing. And he was, he obviously put that side of his life. Yeah. And I feel like we're probably not in the best place to talk about this because we don't share that side of our lives. Like we do this podcast, we talk about stuff, but like we're not putting up, this is our number plate, this is where we live, which he is doing.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Like people do that, and like I think they're more like, I would say he's more of like a content creator / influencer, whereas like we just do the podcast. We don't really post much on our own socials.
Yeah, about our own personal lives.
No, but like that's his choice, and like
he's out there.
There's nothing wrong with that,
he's out there, and there's nothing wrong with that.
The only thing with me would be like, it's like it shouldn't have happened, and nobody just because they don't like him or whatever should do that. Like he's obviously saved up and worked hard to get that car, and it's a nice car, and like for someone to go and fucking key it just because they don't like him is a disgrace.
Yeah, but
at the same time, it's like you're risking it. Like when you're getting a big following and you're posting everything up, and like the personalized number plate, fair enough. But like when you're actually putting it on social media, like everyone knows what car you drive, and everyone knows like, oh, there's Katie's car, but like keying it's obviously taking it very far. But I think will lessons be learned?
Well, yeah, sure. He's not going to sell the car now and ban you.
I know that, but like I just mean, like, is it sort of like one of those things where it makes you think maybe I'm putting too much out there?
But I think that's the whole part of being like actual real with your like following and stuff too, that you are letting them not much into your lifestyle now.
Because like I suppose that's the way it is. Like you don't know, like obviously like big YouTubers like Money May and all, her house obviously got robbed because like she was, and that was all like, oh, you post too much online, and like even that time my flat was robbed. Like we were a bit like, oh, like what did we post on the podcast, and like did people know I was away, because we recorded it in the flat. But like it's like you're sort of just like, you don't really know.
Do you think it was one of like, I'm sort of thinking, do you think someone's actually thought, like they've been sitting in the house and thought, right, I'm going out to find Katie's car and key it? Or has it been a sort of a case where they've been walking up the street and seeing the car and be like, oh, there's Katie's car, that's fucking
The way I think of it is like, I think it's a bunch of wee lads who don't like him or are trying to be funny, and they've seen his car and keyed it. Like, that's how I think it's happened. I don't think anyone, like if someone has done that, like that's a bit worrying, where they've proper hunted him down. On key, because realistic,
it's weird.
Do you know what I mean though? Like that's just, to me that seems a bit far. And he obviously lives in Belfast and he's out and about Belfast, so I would reckon someone's like seen it and been like, oh, that's his car.
But it's now sparked this whole topic now where people are coming back to this, and it kind of went a wee bit dead for a while there, this whole small town mentality thing. And I know the fella that he lives with, who we've also had on the podcast, your boy KEYED, he posted up a TikTok the other day where it was basically like people commenting and messaging him like, I hate you and all this here. And I don't think it's a small... I do think there is that sort of aspect over here where people are a bit behind on just realising, like I'd seen your fella, there's a fella Oren, does like PTing and stuff. And he posted up about, he stitched the Giddy video, and someone commented on it, and I'm actually going to pull it up because I don't want to misquote it. Can you imagine the men of old who slaved every day out cutting turf or working on farms building ships would be embarrassed about today's society? So basically, like, right, your man's
5 and fucking
your man's seen your boy's post about basically someone who, even though yes they're not in a manual labor job, but like unfortunately we're not in times now where men are going and like
kids are chimney sweeps.
Do you know what I mean? Like it still happens, but at the same time everything's going digital. Your man's actually looked at that and went, yeah, your boy started a business doing online social media stuff. Someone's keyed his car, but can you imagine how the men who were out picking turf would feel about him? Like that's no excuse.
He's not getting his hands dirty.
I think that's what it is. I think it's a man thing. Like look how many girls there is in Northern Ireland doing like, you know, influencing or content creation or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and like you don't think twice about it. Like. It's just like pretty girls posting shit on social media and like growing a following and all. And then like in terms of like TikTokers and like boys who make content online, the only boys I can think of are KEYED, like Sean Casey, obviously, like boys like that who are like proper growing a following. And then obviously we do our podcast, but like there's not many people that do it. So like I think that's why. I think it's a jealousy thing. Part of it is like boys probably who are unhappy and wish they had more confidence to put stuff out. And then I think it's just boys are like, oh, you should be out in the yard type of thing.
You are allowed.
Old fashioned opinion. Though.
You are allowed. I feel like we should address this as well. You are allowed to not like people and the content that they create. You're allowed to not like it. You're allowed to scroll through our TikTok and go, I don't agree with that, or I don't like the way
that podcast is trash.
Yeah, like, oh, anybody can get a podcast these days. That's fine. Like, that's grand. But I just think it's so weird that people, and I do think people should be allowed, like we've had messages before from people who have said, I've listened to your podcast and I've been in the car and the audio is cut in and out and it's really annoying.
But that's
something that they don't like, and they fed it back. Do you know what I mean?
It's constructive.
Yeah, it's constructive. You're allowed to not like something. Like that's fine. And to turn around and say that, oh, everybody should like this podcast or everybody should like what KEYED does, is stupid. And I get the whole thing because like there has been times where we've been together and you've scrolled down and up pops KEYED on your feed, and he's doing the whole hand thing, and like I'm like. I like the fella, like he's been on here and I think he's dead on. And to be honest with you, I would probably, if I was having a conversation with him, probably say it to his face as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but people are, you know, people reacting to it and stitching it, and then one's commenting on it and being like, yo, this is good crack and all this here. And he replies to them and it's like, that's just his thing. And if he accepts that, that's fine. It's the people who are like proper going at him and like even messaging. Like get that message, someone going like, I hate the look of you.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Like, that's not even like taking the piss to get a funny reply. That's just dark, like fucking message.
I have like, never ever scrolled through a photo or a TikTok and thought, if I didn't like it, thought to be like, I'm gonna comment on this.
No message.
Even like, commenting though, like I would never be like, oh, I need to comment and be like, this is trash. Like I don't get it. And then it's the whole thing of like, they'll say it in the comments, but they'll not say it to your face. Like. And they'll be like, that's the thing with the KEYED thing that fucks me off, is like some wee prick has keyed his car. And you didn't know rightly if he walked past KEYED in the street, he wouldn't have a word to say to him. And it's even like we've been out before where like there's boys come up to you and they're sound as fuck and they're like, oh, love the podcast and all. And then there was one time we went to the Cage Warriors and you were saying, and me and Jay were walking across the bridge from the SSE or us to a pub in town, like, and this guy was talking to me and Shay the whole time, saying how much he likes the podcast. And as soon as we went across the walk across the street, he goes, TikTok wankers. And Ross heard him.
I didn't hear that.
He said this mate, and then he pointed over and I looked across.
But like the whole time across the bridge, he's like licking our holes, and then as soon as you walk away, so like that just sums it up to me. It's just like dickheads. They wouldn't have said anything when they were talking to us.
I think a big part of the comment sort of thing is like younger people, like say you're in school age, you go and comment on KEYED's video or whatever, or whoever's video, and like it's there for everyone to see. You go into school the next day, oh, did you see what I commented and thing? Like, you know, whenever you're in high school, it's like dick measuring competition, who can do the stupidest thing or like be the biggest fuck about, like. But with the comments, it's just fucking, it's too far. I don't know whether like that's the same, whether they're going back and showing their friends, oh look what I messaged him, like is it so funny or what, or like what are people getting out of it? Like, it's a bit fucked. Like.
When he posted it, I was like, I can't believe this has happened.
I can't believe
I
this.
can't believe you've done this. But in my head, I was like, I remember you sending it in, and I just remember looking at it and being like, I did feel bad for him. Like, you could even tell by the way he was doing on his stories, and he just seemed like at that stage he was fed up.
It's trumpy. It's a trumpy doing. I think it's good as well. Like, a lot of people are coming out and sort of supporting him. And like, that's one of the reasons we wanted to talk about it. Was just like, you know, it is too far, and it's like, he is a good lad. He's just different. Like, he's just doing his own thing. Like, do you know what I mean? And why do you have to get so annoyed that he is there? Like, like, just don't follow him, or just like, you can literally go on to TikTok and be like, I don't like this content, and it won't show up anymore. Like, I don't get it. Like.
Yeah, and it's good to see people do well. I always think that
he's like, doing well, like, and fair play to him.
But at the same time, it's like would you post, you know, would you go on TikTok and post a fit check? No.
If it was
not for you.
A bit skinnier and look good. Like.
Yeah. Would you go on TikTok and post a fit check? Like, no. I would.
See, I like clothes, and like, I would like, I wouldn't say I would do it, but like, I would look at it and be like, you know, like, he was wearing, like, he done that fit check thing, and he was wearing Jordans, and I was like, yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'd watch a fit check.
I would watch it, like, but I don't know if I would post it myself.
Yeah.
But so the reason why I'm bringing it up is because there's another fella, I don't know where he's from, but he does outfits. That's his whole thing, is like doing, like, I went to Primark and I got this, or I bought this off Zara. And like, yeah, he probably gets a bit of abuse, but like, no one really says much. Whereas I think it's just people
that's because he's branded that as his thing.
Yeah.
So people know what they're going to get with him.
Yeah. I feel like there's an element of it that there is that big focus around like the likes of KEYED's content, and I feel like people have perceived him the wrong way. Is that, you know, there's a lot of stuff like when he moved into the Oval, it was, you know, oh, we took the risk and we're here. And it's pushing that sort of aspect where, yes, if you drop out of uni or whatever, or you drop out of A levels, it's not the end of the world. But people just look at that and be like, oh, you're just pushing how amazing you are. And I don't think that's what he's...
It's just a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
The way I see it is, they've worked hard to get to where they are, and they're obviously excited about it and want to share it with the people that follow them. Like.
But then some people might look at that and think, oh, he's just rubbing that in my face. Like.
But that's obviously what way people think, because they are getting annoyed about it and going on about it. Like, it's
Either way, I think, long story short, you're allowed to disagree and you're allowed to dislike people and the content that they
just
make.
Fucking leave Gay alone. Fuck's sake.
But like, just white up, like, there's no need to go around like, there's no need to go around in key cars,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's out of line, like, and hopefully, like, the police find who done it.
I think we could narrow it down to one thing. It had to be someone with a key.
Nice.
Detective Shay.
We'll be dropping
actually
a message.
If you go
like,
back,
it was hardly like a 10-year-old. Like, they wouldn't have keys on them. Would they?
They could have the wee,
I suppose then they could have a house key or something.
Wee plastic keys, you know, the colourful ones.
we walk out of the shit. We go on a walk later on, and Shay finds a key on the ground. Shay's like, bag it, send it in for
we're gonna bust this motherfucker.
But anyway, here it's a expense. It's a crap thing to happen, and like, definitely, like, if you're about that, you're just a Trump.
Leave
yeah, he's a sound,
those kids.
He is a sound lad, like, so we'll leave it there.
Go Team Giddy.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll probably leave that there.
Is it a bit,
is it a bit of a depressing note?
Yeah, a bit of a depressing note.
Right.
You know someone with a set of keys.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Catch.